Hey Cultivator, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to break down 8 practical tips that you can start to implement in your next video interview that is scheduled. As you guys know, video interview is becoming so popular. It's actually replacing a lot of phone interviews. And the reason being is because you could tell so much about a person when they're on video versus just hearing their voice over the phone, right? There's so much that goes into body language, being able to read somebody's face, and seeing how they present themselves on camera. It's as good as it gets compared to being in person. And a lot of times companies are trying to narrow down their top 3 finalists, but before flying them out to an interview, they just want to get a sense of who you are as a person overall. So, because video interviews are so popular, let's go over the top 8 strategies that you must adopt before your next interviews to feel fully prepared. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Alright, so tip number 1 is before your interview is actually confirmed, download whatever application they tell you they're meeting up on. Whether it's Google Hangouts, Zoom, or any other software technology, you want to make sure that you download it well in advance to your actual interview so that you can iron out any technical difficulties, and you can also just get familiar with the interface. This is so important, but I know a lot of candidates in the past have not flushed this out, and when it comes to the actual interview time, they get thrown off their game because they're like, oh my goodness, I am late to this interview, or oh my goodness, I had so many technical issues. Let's just remove all technical issues that inevitably come up by just having a practice run on your own. All right, so tip number 2 is all about conducting a mock interview. So piggybacking off of practicing playing around with the software platform that they're utilizing, I actually want you to practice being on camera and being interviewed. So whether you're doing a mock interview with a friend or a partner, really have them throw out a couple of questions at you so you can actually just get comfortable and familiar with sharing your answers on camera, and you can practice where you're looking as well. The most important thing for you is just to get comfortable with this method of interviews because, again, it's becoming so widely popular, but the more practice you get, the more comfortable you are with it, just like with anything in life. And by the way, if you're ever interested in conducting a full mock interview, getting real feedback, honest feedback, and helping you craft your answers stronger, don't forget to check the link in the description box down below and use this promo code for $100 off. So tip number 3 is all about maintaining eye contact. What does this mean when you're in the actual video interview? So it's a little bit different, and I've had a lot of candidates struggle with this in our mock interviews, telling me that they're not exactly sure where to look, and it's understandable given that I'm not directly in front of them. So your eyes might shift from time to time. What I mean by this is when you're looking at your monitor and that person is here, or maybe they're here, or maybe they're here, you're just going to always maintain eye contact with them when they're speaking. So just look at them in their eyes wherever they are on your screen, and make sure that you're holding that eye contact so when they are speaking, they can actually see you just kind of looking in one direction. But when you're actually speaking and it's your turn to answer the questions or ask a question, you actually want to look at the lens on your webcam wherever it is positioned. So typically you want to be about eye contact level with your lens. So you might have to practice with this positioning again as you're doing the mock interview, but where your eyes should be is looking directly at the lens, not necessarily somewhere on your monitor or looking at yourself, which I know is kind of where you naturally want to look because that is kind of the natural place we're conditioned to go. But if you could just look at the camera lens, that's really helpful. And then one of the most helpful tricks when people are just getting started out conducting video is actually putting like a picture of somebody next to their lens. So you could tape a picture of somebody that you're really comfortable with next to it. It's right next to the lens, so it looks like you're staring directly in there. And that way, as you're answering your questions, it's almost like you're looking at that person every time you speak. All right, so tip number 4 is making sure that you have ample lighting on your face. You don't want to be backlit, meaning your window is behind you, you want to actually be facing a window, or if you don't have a window next to you, what you can do is just make sure you have a appropriate light that is, again, going to be shining on your face versus behind you or to the side. So this is going to be really important to practice depending on the scheduled time of your interview, because the sun will move depending on what time of day it is, right? So whatever time your interview is scheduled, I would just recommend that you practice 1 or 2 days beforehand and just make sure that you're perfectly lit during that time of day. So you know you need to arrange some of your lighting if needed, and or move your laptop somewhere so that, again, you have enough light that's projected on you. Another thing you can do is go on Amazon.com, look up ring lights. There are a lot of cheap alternatives to a full-on set that most video production companies will have. You could even have like a small clamp-on ring light for like $12 or something. So they come in handy, but just make sure that you have the right lighting, because you don't want to feel like you look horrible or creepy on camera, given that your face is like half lit, right? So just practice that in advance. All right, on that note, let's talk about tip number 5, which is all about your background and your environment. So the minute you turn on your webcam, the other person is kind of taking in everything that they're seeing. And so just to be safe, I really recommend having either a neutral background, meaning you just have like a plain wall behind you, like a clean slate, and or you just have a really tidy background. It could be, you know, you have wall art that kind of demonstrates what your interests are, or you have a shelf with your favorite books, whatever it may be, it just needs to be tidy and organized. In the past, I've had a lot of candidates though tell me that whenever they had some type of wall art or favorite books, it ended up being a really great icebreaker and conversational piece, and it helped build rapport before the actual interview went on. So that's something to consider, but be as tidy and organized as possible, because again, this is all part of your brand and your first impressions. All right, tip number 6 for you is to make sure that you're in a uninterrupted, quiet space for the duration of your video interview. I know this one can be a little bit difficult sometimes, especially if you have roommates and or you live with a family, but for the most part, if you're able to just really tell people in advance, hey, I cannot be interrupted around this time, it has to be as quiet as possible. Post on your door, do not enter, do not knock on a job interview. That's going to be really helpful. But sometimes things will come up unexpectedly and it's inevitable. For example, my dog loves to bark anytime I'm filming something and or I'm on an actual mock interview or a client call. It's just like he knows. But one of the things that I will do instead of getting flustered or visibly frustrated and angry is I might just laugh it off by saying, oh, it looks like Hong Kong is also equally excited about this organization, right? A lot of the interview process is just seeing how do you conduct yourself when you're under stress or when things don't go accordingly to planned, right? There's a big stark difference between being flustered and angry and just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to deal with this, to laughing it off and trying to make it light and carrying on with the conversation. So a lot of interviewers know that you are conducting it from home. It's okay to have unexpected things come up. Just make sure that you recognize and realize everything is being captured on camera and you just roll with the punches as they come. Tip number 7 is to dress and groom yourself just as you would if you were going into the actual physical interview. I know sometimes when we are interviewing from home, we might feel a little bit more casual and relaxed, but I just want to emphasize that this video interview is in lieu of that in-person interview. So everything that is being assessed is exactly the same. You want to make sure that you're presenting your best first impressions possible. And as much as they say that you want to be dressed well from the waist up, I would just say make sure that you're in your full ensemble, because a lot of confidence comes from the way that you feel, and there's a lot of power in the way that you dress to help you feel a certain way, right? When you have on your heels or you have on your best dress shoes, you're going to just feel a lot more professional and polished, and that's going to carry through and project on camera. The final tip I have for you is to make sure that you sit up straight and you smile. If you can do both of these things, you're going to just be that much more magnetic during this video interview, especially because the camera, for whatever reason, amplifies everything. So, for instance, if you kind of move your hands a lot, the camera picks that up 10 times more than if you were to do it in person. Everything is just amplified that much more. So make sure you smile, because that's going to help the other person feel more connected to you, because again, when you're kind of 2D versus 3D, you're missing out on a lot of easy ways to build rapport. So the best thing that you can do during this time is to smile and sit up straight so that you look more confident and polished. And this is going to allow you to also stand in your ground and deliver your best. And there you have it. As you prepare for your next video interview, implement these 8 tips, because they will help you bring out the best version of yourself, and also make sure that you're connecting with that person on the other side of the screen. Let me know down below in the comment box which tip you found the most helpful, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Until then, I hope you continue to cultivate your life and your career.